I'm gonna watch the new TTS Historian, the Fifth Council. There is an epilepsy warning from 307 to 333, which is about halfway through this video. It says, if you are sensitive to flashing lights, please play the video in another tab for these parts. I don't know how that would work out, but that's the warning that it says at the beginning of the video. So let's watch it, okay? Everyone be careful. Be careful. Ready? Let's watch. TTS Historian, the Fifth Council. This was
Have you ever wondered
YouTube
where intelligence first came from?
Video.
Where the first people who wondered how things worked came to be? For a long time, the four heads were the experts in this field. They offered simple answers to complicated questions, with a philosophy that life is just that simple. Well, there were some four heads that wanted more than just a simple answer. They thought, and thought, and thought about so many things, that simplistic ideas turned into complex realities. These five heads later produced some of the greatest ideas in history, such as electricity, airborne information, and even simple math. However, there was a small group of five heads that invented the very pillars holding up today's society. One group that both rewrote TTS history and destroyed it in the process. So get comfortable and settle in with your favorite drink, as today, we will learn about the most influential five heads in TTS history.
Here we go, here we go.
A long time ago, when Pepes were still one race, the first five-head ascended from being a four-head exactly 10,000 years ago. This five-head ascended after thinking so hard about how to get good at any game, he actually came up with a probable answer. This inspired other four heads to ascend as well, and thus, the five heads were born from their own head. Five heads answered many problems facing TTS by giving lectures to anyone who'd listen. As people heard the answers to things like stopping war and how things worked, more people showed up to these lectures, some four heads even ascending from the sheer information with a probable answer.
Really.
This inspired other four heads to ascend as well, and thus...
Parker, can you shut up? We're trying to watch a very informative video.
The five heads were born from their own head. Five heads answered many problems facing TTS by giving lectures to anyone who'd listen. As people heard the answers to things like stopping war and how things worked, more people showed up to these lectures, some four heads even ascending from the sheer information given. These answers to problems soon became the accepted norm of TTS society, and were used to explain anything that didn't make sense.
That's so cool.
Said answers to the problems TTS faced include but are not limited to, an invention, a philosophy, a theory, or even a religion. It was clear that five heads were the race that would push TTS forward in history. So of course, they needed a ruler. Or in this case, rulers. Five of the most influential and smartest five heads came together under one roof, and dubbed themselves the Fifth Council. Their names were known as Ilundis, Diaresis,
Do we want to read these? Do we want to read these or not? Diaresis. The one female five-head that was a part of the Fifth Council, known for her expertise in biology and how instinct affects our everyday lives. It was possible white knights formed to protect her from hate and trauma. She was known for being incredibly sensitive. Some sources argue she was the one who created white knights to begin with. MDS focused on pioneering technology, creating things like computers, robots, thousands of years before humans did. One downside to his tech was that it would spontaneously combust into flames if it ever performed over its normal functions. The company AMD named themselves after MDS as a way to pay homage to the five-head. They even used some of his research to build their own processor, which has gone less than smooth. Romandia was unique. He tested out weapons and other inventions by using them in various conflicts across TTS. People like Monka and Diaresis disliked his ideas because of how they encouraged violence, but Romandia's methods have led to the end of some deadly battles. Romans named themselves after Romandia as they used many of his inventions such as ballistas and aqueducts. Romandia possibly was an inspiration for Moxie's sniping name Romans as well.
Mandia and Monk.
Monka, possibly the first Pepe to ever ascend to 5-head, proving anyone could become one. He was responsible for psychology and how various things in our lives can affect our mental state. Ironically, Monka was known for being mentally unwell. He was often paranoid of impossible things, as well as anything that proved harmful to others. Pepes who were constantly afraid of nothing were nicknamed Monka because of their anxiety.
Together, they created ideas with
I skipped Alundis.
one roof, and dubbed themselves the Fifth Council. Their names were known as Elundis.
Elundis was one of the more mysterious of the 5 as he was more reclusive in his research and didn't talk to anyone. He is only known for attempting to use the Elundis core as an infinite source of power for TTS. Some sources say he was able to use magic and could even fly thanks to his sheer brain power because of his unique abilities. It was clear he was the most powerful 5-head to ever grace TTS.
Diaresis, Iamdius, Romandia, and Monka. Together, they created ideas we still use today in our daily lives. They discovered biology, developed a way to harness electricity, and tamed the untamable entity known as the mind. However, one idea did stand out from the rest, one thing that ended up blowing a crater in the history books of TTS. People knew it as the Elundis core. The Elundis core was discovered by Elundis when it crashed onto TTS exactly 7,777 years ago.
He flies.
Elundis found that it was full of a power he never ever could have imagined, and he intended to use it to bring power across TTS. Everyone would have been brought together, where even the weird champs and ha-has could get along. Alas, fate had other plans.
The Elundis core has erupted, we forgot.
After that fateful day, the Elundis core deactivated and slept underneath the ground, as the tectonic plates carried it to the heart of NA. The core reactivated underneath the asthenosphere, blowing up a gigantic chamber under the rock. Magma filled the chamber and rose to the surface, creating Yellowstone itself. Because of the core's unpredictability, the Fifth Council camped out in Yellowstone, where the Elundis core is known to lay dormant under the volcano. They built a base there for them to gather and stop the core if anything were to happen with it.
I love his animations. It's so cute.
The Fifth Council does not exist today, as they had all been killed either by cultists or suicide. Elundis was the only member to have a legacy that still lives on through his family. Moxie is said to be Elundis's great-great-great-great insert 70 more greats here grandson, so he is tasked with stopping the Elundis core if anything were to happen with it. The 5 heads were nicknamed the Moxes because of the hype surrounding Moxie's prophecy. Today, 5 heads teach at Ivy League schools, calculate NASA's landing speeds, solve cures to ligma, and many more things to progress in today's society. Despite their less than stellar history,
what is this?
We would likely still be Pepegus hitting ourselves with rocks without them. But that does not mean the 5 heads are perfect, as even the smartest of 5 heads made deadly mistakes that cost everyone. However, even smarter 5 heads will look at their mistakes and fix what they had done. In fact, that was what made the first 5-head ascend in the first place. Always learn from your and others' mistakes, so you can be the best person you can be.
Exactly. I could not agree more. I love learning from other people's mistakes, and then eventually my own at some point. I couldn't agree more. Alright, let's go to something a little more lighthearted. Let's watch Onion.